to abolish this idea that spending more money equals actual good art direction. I'm sick of being updated on how much money YG Entertainment practically pisses in a hole for Blackpink only for the content to look the same or generic. I'm not trying to downplay what Jennie contributed to the group because oftentimes, it is beautiful, but 9 out of 10 times, nothing Blackpink puts out visually has any substance. It's exhausting how everything in relation to them is just a number game at the end of the day. Still to this day I do not comprehend the backlash that aespa got for featuring emojis in Savage's music video. It was one of the most bizarre critiques because that quite literally was a good part of their art direction from that era that was original. Emojis are used every day in our lives, it's cemented in pop culture. Y'all are so addicted to nostalgia that you're shunning them for including modern elements in their art that you yourselves use. It makes me cry a bit. LE logo is the ugliest out of all the huge groups right now. The simple fact that this is an unpopular opinion blows my mind because every era the logo gets uglier and uglier. I don't understand how they seem to outdo themselves backwards. Brilliant. Although I agree with the popular opinion about Odd Recipe's teasers from Birthday needing to be saturated more, I personally think Odd Recipe and Rev Power are both equally good concepts. I honestly wish people would be more appreciative for the exhaustive effort they went through for the set design. I assure you that was not easy to put together. I feel like companies are way too quick to fly over to LA and film for music videos. I just don't feel like all of South Korea, or even East Asia has been explored yet for cinematography purposes, and companies should dedicate those resources into finding more niche and unused locations at home. Your group is not versatile for bouncing from concept to concept. Jack of all trades, master of none. That tweet that said no one wants to pose for an album cover anymore. Exactly how I feel whenever I see LE ugly ass minimalist covers. One thing about their fans, they will always sit down and begin to over-explain the design decisions too, as if the intent behind the design and the execution are inherently linked. This album cover can be symbolic of the message and still be dogshit. We're reaching new insane levels of concern when it comes to music videos under SM these days. They've always had those moments where sometimes the music video and the album's art direction are two completely different visions, but recently the quality and ideas have just been eye-twitching. There are times where the art direction and the music video feeling distant has worked well, such as Feel My Rhythm, but there's other times that just feels jarring as hell, such as Stamp on It. If it's not contrasting concepts, then it's foregoing any sort of understanding about visual storytelling, such as Perfume and Spicy. I don't know what's going on truly. I've softened up on the art direction for Assemble, but I still maintain that Triple S's body of work is very unremarkable and always looks like something someone else did much better. Other than 2 times, I've never seen any of their work and felt refreshed. It just feels like a constant rehash of the concepts we've been seeing for the past year, which I find lame. I feel like if you're going to be operating such a huge project such as this, you should at least be willing to take some risks creatively outside of shilling crypto to make fans do jobs for free that people get paid for. LOL. Speaking of these girls, I find it quite grating when K-pop stans try to exclude their groups from appealing to a trend that clearly someone popularized. Recently Alphas. Not even gonna speak on that fandom name, and bunnies were fighting. Yeah, a full-on furry match going on Twitter, because someone pointed out that XG changed their concept when New Jeans debuted. Alphas pushed back by saying Shooting Star was recorded in 2019, and the simple fact that this got absolutely no pushback and everyone accepted it as their own has my head spinning. In fact, literally the existence of this proves the original point further. They had this in the vault and yet not only debuted with an entirely different concept, but came back with that same dog dookie girl crush generic ass concept afterwards. Had the trends not shifted, there was no fucking shot Shooting Star would have had that concept. Y'all are batshit crazy. Like, good on them for hiring a creative director. It was gorgeous, 10 out of 10, it was literally the shprism print, I cannot lie. But this urge that stans get to make it seem like their favorite groups are currently appealing to the trend that New Jeans popularized this summer has me in tears. Believes we're doing the same shit when Aniya came out. There is no fucking shot in hell that Billy's music video would have that concept if Ditto hadn't came out months prior. It's so crazy that this is even an argument too. Look at the previous execution of concepts from these groups, then look at what they've done post New Jeans debut. There's your answer right there. The way people won't even concede on this is actually scary too, because nobody said New Jeans invented modernized Y2K, New Jeans clearly has their inspirations. What was said is that they popularized it because their debut was massive. It doesn't matter that Y2K was being revitalized, because as you can see from everything before New Jeans debuted, none of these goddamn groups were utilizing it correctly at all. It's so crazy to deny this. This is like saying Blackpink had no influence in the rise of girl crush concepts, especially after D4, like that was the girl crush manual that these girls keep reading off of years later. Be so serious. Chung's cringe quite literally birthed experimental art direction in a well-balanced way, and the fact that she got booed for it still haunts me to this day. Especially given that later that year, NINI'S would try to claim that Tess had practically brought it into K-pop with Savage. Crenshaw was her Savage with 10 times more competency, passion and creativity. I feel terrible that she's not on top of everyone's radar for this, and I hope she continues her career by experimenting more. Like, it amazes me how she quite literally did what Tespa and Listerfim wants to do, but a million times better with probably half the budget they get. We freaking love you, Chunga. Come back home. SM have been reusing concepts lately, leading to projects feeling weirdly blended with each other rather than standing out on their own. I spoke about it more in my full My World review, but the simple fact that for the past 2 years we've been able to constantly point out similarities between artists' projects could not be a bigger red flag. Girls' Real World Concept and Queendom's Homecoming Girls, Dion's I Envy You and FX's Four Walls, aespa's My World Strange Phenomenon and got the Beats stamp on it set 2, aespa's I'm Unhappy Concept and Selgi's 28 Reasons, Red Velvet's Wild Side and got the Beats stamp on it music videos. Like, I honestly can keep going and going. We have gotten some standout pieces in between these, but there used to be days in which the standout pieces were the standard and very few similarities, given that each artist had their own identity for the most part. Like, as much as people like to say FX and Red Velvet are practically the same group, I could never see Red Velvet doing Pinocchio or Pink Tape in the same way I could never see FX doing Really Bad Boy or Birthday. So it's insane that we're at a point in which I could point out similarities between a group like aespa and Red Velvet despite the fact that they couldn't be miles apart in group identity. Speaking of reusing concepts, NCT needs to come up with something new and quick. I feel like ever since the art direction of Sticker, which mind you, absolutely fucking bang and was a hit on the shprism charts, they've sort of been backsliding bad. NCT Dream is the only ones who get to have some fun and have something unique. I'm kind of sad to see NCT 127 being reduced to this super generic image with these past few releases. The music videos for Favorite, Two Baddies and 8Jo feel like they're practically the same, give or take a few scenes. Favorite was abysmal, like I'm never forgiving their team for feeding into that corny fan service shit whatsoever with that K-drama ass concept. 8Jo was the final nail in the concept because the entire concept is just California. Which makes the music video's execution even more fucking insane. Like, why are y'all in a void? Someone said it's an NCT museum concept, but if so, this is an insult to their own work. They've done much cooler shit. Perfume was even worse than the aforementioned concepts. It's like the more albums they put out, the less and less interesting their art direction becomes. Disband NCT Dream and give the good concepts to the groups who actually make the good music in the group. Jesus Christ, IVE's 4th gen's Blackpink, but better at the game. Stylistically they understand they need to go all out because there's nothing more to the group, but behind the glitz and the glam, there's practically no substance behind the art. It's gobbly visual gook that everyone will like no matter what. No risks, high rewards. Their art director is very smart, I'll give them that. Definitely a work smarter, not harder creative team going on over there. ITZY has the best art direction under JYP, and it annoys me that they don't get credited for always bringing something fresh and fun to the table. Other than lame-ass Cheshire and Checkmate's chic concept, they have not missed. From the fun Y2K, campy sneakers concept, the neo Y2K swipe concept that y'all wrongfully booed them for, Not Shy's baby girl bandits concept, Guess Who's whole mafia game concept, like they are always one step ahead. Even Voltage's concept is better than SM's attempt at it with stamp on it. Literally their only crime is being under whack-ass JYP. Let them have been under a company whose productions don't look bootleg as fuck and they would be unmatched. Like not shiny at the end you feel that red light has because the concepts aren't far apart aesthetic wise. Crazy in Love could have been their birthday. Like it makes me sick just thinking about how good their concepts are because nobody notices since they're surrounding like the doo-doo dog dookie that in Mix and Twice subject us to with every album. I genuinely dislike how mature most of IVE concepts lean, like once again, there's a 14-year-old in the group. If you wanted to give that mature, chic look, then you shouldn't have added her to the lineup. I'm constantly amazed at how G-Idol takes every concept and makes it insanely annoying. It's very respectable. Not really an unpopular opinion I guess, but given that I just said that, in my opinion, the only 4th gen groups with good art direction, even if I don't always like some things, are aespa, NINI'S, ITZY, Iris, Purple Kiss and Fromis, if they count. The rest of you girls out here looking absolutely crazy. I've teaser fished from the jump and hopped from concept to concept. Listropham's whole shtick will never line up with their boring ass art direction. Triple S always munching off someone else's plate. Billy would be better if everything they've done outside of their videos didn't look so sterile and outdated. Weekly is hit or miss, and the one time they took a risk it was to bite off Luna. Everglow has a hilarious superhero concept that nobody knows nor gives a fuck about. Steak has no identity outside their music. Lightsome never even got a chance. Kepler improved way too late. Ishilin has a severe identity crisis. I Love You One has no money, and Cherry Bullet shot themselves in the foot after their 3rd comeback and has been slowly dying off with each release. Kepler, like I said, improved. I'm still unsure about 50/50. Alice is still trying to find their footing, so I won't be hard on them, but you wanna know who was washing the girls and got killed off by the hands of misogyny? Fucking bugaboo. Like bro fuck Ryan. Anyways, that's the end. Thank you for watching Straw Besties.